You know that feeling, right? You start a new fitness routine, you're super excited, you're all in, and then a few weeks later, poof, the motivation is gone. It is such a common story. But what if I told you there's an actual formula to break that cycle? A way to turn that first spark into a fire that actually lasts? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. Now, get this. According to the Association for Applied Sport Psychology, a whopping 80% of people who start an exercise program just quit. I'm going to say that again. 80%. That means for every 10 people you see crowding the gym in January, only 2 are still there come March. It's a huge number. So that's the big question, isn't it? It's not about just starting. Anyone can start. It's about sticking with it. So how do you make sure you're one of the finishers? How do you become part of that successful 20%? That's the puzzle we're going to solve today.
So let's dive right into that 80% problem. Why do so many people fall off the wagon? Well, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not about some magical source of willpower. It's about having the right strategy. And believe it or not, it all starts in your head.
And that brings us to the first piece of the puzzle, winning the mind game. Yep. Before you even think about lifting a single weight or running a single mile, you've got to build a habit that can last, one that becomes a non-negotiable part of your life.
So, rule number 1, and this is huge, it has to be fun. Seriously, if you absolutely hate running, why on earth would you force yourself to go for a run every day? That's just setting yourself up for failure. Find something you actually enjoy. Maybe it's dancing or hiking or learning a new sport. And hey, grab a friend. It makes a world of difference. The key is to start easy. Pain is not a badge of honor when you're starting out. It's just a really good reason to quit.
All right, next up, you have to remove the friction. Make it so easy to show up that it's harder not to. Pick a gym that's on your way home from work, or find a killer routine you can do right in your living room. Find a time that works for you and then lock it into your calendar like a doctor's appointment. The goal here is to make it automatic, so you're not debating with yourself every single day.
Okay, so you're showing up, you're being consistent, that's amazing. That's more than half the battle right there. But how do you make sure all that effort is actually getting you results? Well, that brings us to what I like to call the golden rule. It's a fundamental principle, an ancient secret to getting stronger that just works.
The fancy term for it is progressive overload. And it sounds kind of technical, but the idea is actually incredibly simple. To get stronger, faster, or fitter, you have to constantly ask your body to do just a little bit more than it's used to. Your body is a truly amazing adaptation machine. But here's the catch. If you don't give it a new challenge to adapt to, it has no reason to change. It'll just stay the same.
And you know, there is no better story to explain this than the ancient Greek legend of a wrestler named Milo of Croton. It's such a simple tale, but it perfectly captures the power of this golden rule.
Okay, so here's how the legend goes. Milo starts by lifting a tiny newborn calf onto his shoulders. No big deal, right? But the key is, he did it every single day. And every day, that calf got just a little bit heavier. And as the calf grew, Milo's body adapted and he got stronger right along with it. Day by day, week by week, until years later, the story says he was lifting a full-grown bull. That, my friends, is progressive overload in a nutshell. Small, consistent increases over time lead to absolutely incredible results.
So how do we become a modern-day Milo? Well, you've got a few different knobs you can turn. You can increase the volume. That's just doing more reps or sets. You can crank up the intensity by lifting heavier weights. Or you can increase the frequency by training a little more often. You don't have to do all of them at once. Just pick one and slowly, gradually push it forward over time.
All right, we've got the psychology, the why, and we've got the golden rule, the what. Now for the fun part, the how. Let's build a practical blueprint for results and turn all this theory into something you can actually do.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with a clear target. Not just a vague wish like, I want to get in shape. We're talking about a SMART goal. It has to be specific, like I want to add 10 pounds to my bench press. It has to be measurable, so you know exactly when you've hit your goal. It needs to be achievable and realistic for you right now. And finally, it has to be time-bound. Give yourself a deadline, say 12 weeks. See? That turns a fuzzy dream into an actual plan of attack.
And that leads me to maybe the most important point of all, summed up perfectly right here. Are you assessing or are you just guessing? Because you literally cannot apply progressive overload if you're just guessing. Think about it. You can't do more than last time if you have no idea what you did last time. And this is what that looks like. It does not have to be fancy, a beat-up notebook, an app on your phone, whatever works. You just need to write down your exercises, the weight you used, and how many sets and reps you did.
This simple log is your roadmap. It's the tool that turns random activity into focused, purposeful training. This is how you make sure you're obeying the golden rule.
So when you follow this plan, what's actually happening inside your body on a scientific level? Well, you're triggering the 3 main drivers of muscle growth. First, there's mechanical tension from lifting that challenging weight. Second, you create a tiny bit of muscle damage, these little micro tears that your body then repairs, building them back even stronger. And third, you get that metabolic stress. You know that pump feeling? That's a real thing, and it helps trigger growth. A good plan makes sure you're hitting all 3.
Okay, let's bring it all home. After all the science and all the psychology, it really just boils down to a super simple 3-part formula. This is it. This is how you make fitness a real, lasting part of your life.
Key number 1, you have to win the mind game. Use psychology to your advantage. Build a consistent habit by making it enjoyable and convenient, so showing up becomes the easy part.
Key number 2, once you're showing up, you must obey the golden rule. Consistently apply the principle of progressive overload. Always be aiming to do just a little bit more than you did before.
And finally, key number 3, follow the blueprint. Have a plan. Use SMART goals and track every single workout. This is what gives your effort direction and guarantees you're making real progress. So there you have it. That's the formula. It's not magic, but it is incredibly effective. It worked for Milo of Croton with his calf thousands of years ago, and it'll work for you. So the only question left to ask is, what are you going to progressively overload tomorrow?